भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासां ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः। यद्धान्तस्तु ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति श्रीशतम्। नष्टप्रायसो भद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया। भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21, verse 27. अस्ति यज्ञापतिर्नाम केषाञ्चिद् अर्हसत्तमाः इहामुत्र च लक्ष्यन्ते ज्येष्णावत्या क्वचिद्भुवः। अस्ति यज्ञापतिर्नाम केषाञ्चिद् अर्हसत्तमाः इहामुत्र च लक्ष्यन्ते ज्येष्णावत्या क्वचिद्भुवः। Synonyms. Asti, there must be. Yajnapatihi, the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Nama, of the name. Kesanchit, in the opinion of some. Arha Sattamaha, O most respectable. Iha, in this material world. Amutra, after death. Cha, also. Lakshante, it is visible. Jasnavatyaha, powerful, beautiful. Kochit, somewhere. Bhuvaha, bodies. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear respectable ladies and gentlemen, according to the authoritative statements of Shastra, there must be a supreme authority who is able to award the respective benefits of our present activities. Otherwise, why should there be persons who are unusually beautiful and powerful, both in this life and in the life after death? Purport. Prithu Maharaj's sole aim in ruling his kingdom was to raise the citizens to the standard of God consciousness. Since there was a great assembly in the arena of sacrifice, there were different types of men present, but he was especially interested in speaking to those who were not atheists. It has already been explained in the previous verses that Prithu Maharaj advised the citizens to become adhokshaja dhiyaha, which means God conscious or Krishna conscious. And in this verse, he specifically presents the authority of Shastra. Even though his father was a number one atheist who did not abide by the injunctions mentioned in the Vedic Shastras, who practically stopped all sacrificial performances, and who so disgusted the Brahmanas that they not only dethroned him but cursed and killed him. Atheistic men do not believe in the existence of God, and thus they understand everything which is happening in our daily affairs to be due to physical arrangement and chance. Atheists believe in the atheistic Sankhya philosophy of the combination of Prakriti and Purusha. They believe only in matter and hold that matter under certain conditions of amalgamation gives rise to the living force, which then appears as Purusha, the enjoyer. Then, by a combination of matter and the living force, the many varieties of material manifestation come into existence. Nor do atheists believe in the injunctions of the Vedas. According to them, all the Vedic injunctions are simply theories and simply theories that have no practical application in life. Taking all this into consideration, Prithu Maharaj suggested that theistic men will solidly reject the views of the atheists on the grounds that there cannot be many varieties of existence without the plan of a superior intelligence. Atheists very vaguely explain that these varieties of existence occurred simply by chance, but the theists who believe in the injunctions of the Vedas must reach all their conclusions under the direction of the Vedas. In the Vishnu Puran, it is said that the entire Varnashrama institution is meant to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The rules and regulations set up for the execution of the duties of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras or Brahmacharis, Grihasthas, Vanaprasthas, and Sannyasis are all meant to satisfy the Supreme Lord. At the present moment, although the so called Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras have lost their original culture. They claim to be Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras by birthright. Yet they have rejected the proposition that such social and spiritual orders are especially meant for worship of Lord Vishnu. The dangerous Mayavad theory set forth by Sankaracharya that God is impersonal does not tally with the injunctions of the Vedas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore described the Mayavadi philosophers as the greatest offenders against the personality of Godhead. According to the Vedic system, one who does not abide by the orders of the Vedas is called a Nastik or atheist. When Lord Buddha preached his theory of non-violence, he was obliged to deny the authority of the Vedas. And for this reason, he was considered by the followers of the Vedas to be a Nastika. But although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very clearly enunciated that the followers of Lord Buddha's philosophy are Nastics or atheists because of their denial of the authority of the Vedas. He considered the Sankarites, who wanted to establish Vedic authority by trickery and who actually followed the Mayavad philosophy of Buddha's school, to be more dangerous than the Buddhists themselves. The Sankarite philosophers' theory that we have to imagine a shape of God is more dangerous than denial of the existence of God. Notwithstanding all the philosophical theorizing by atheists or Mayavadis, the followers of Krishna consciousness rigidly live according to the injunctions given in Bhagavad Gita, which is accepted as the essence of all Vedic scripture. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 46, it is said, Yataha प्रवृत्तिर भूतानाम येन सर्वम इदम ततम स्वकर्मणातम अव्यर्च्य siddhim vindanti manavaha. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, man can, in the performance of his own duty, attain perfection. This indicates that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original source of everything. As described in the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadya Asya Yataha, the Lord Himself also confirms in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavaha, I am the origin of everything. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original source of all emanations, and at the same time, as Paramatma, is spread all over existence. The absolute truth is, therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and every living being is meant to satisfy the Supreme Godhead by performing his respective duty. So karmana tam avyarcha. Maharaj Prithu wanted to introduce this formula amongst his citizens. The most important point in human civilization is that while one engages in different occupational duties, he must try to satisfy the Supreme Lord by the execution of such duties. That is the highest perfection of life. Swanusthiti tasya dharmasya samsiddhir hari doshanam. By discharging one's prescribed duty, one can become very successful in life if he simply satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The vivid example is Arjuna. He was a Kshatriya. His duty was to fight, and by executing his prescribed duty, he satisfied the Supreme Lord, and therefore he became perfect. Everyone should follow this principle. The atheists who do not are condemned in Bhagavad Gita 16.19 by the following statement: Tanaham distataha Kruran samsareshu naradhaman. In this verse, it is clearly said that persons who are envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are the lowest of mankind and are very mischievous. Under the regulative principles of the Supreme, such mischievous persons are thrown into the darkest region of material existence and are born of asuras or atheists. Birth after birth, such asuras go still further down, finally to animal forms like those of tigers or similar ferocious beasts. Thus, for millions of years, they have to remain in darkness without knowledge of Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Purushottama, or the best of all living entities. He is a person like all other living entities, but he is the leader or the best of all living beings. That is stated in the Vedas also. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. He is the chief of all eternals, the chief of all living entities, and he is complete and full. He has no need to derive benefit by interfering with the affairs of other living entities. But because he is the maintainer of all, he has the right to bring them to the proper standard so that all living entities may become happy. A father wants all of his children to become happy under his direction. Similarly, God or Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has the right to see that all living entities are happy. There is no possibility of becoming happy within this material world. The Father and the Sons are eternal, but if a living entity does not come to the platform of his eternal life of bliss and knowledge, there is no question of happiness. Although Purushottam, the best of all living entities, has no benefit to derive from the common living entities, it does have the right to discriminate between their right and wrong ways. The right way is the path of activities meant to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As we have already discussed, Sanusthitasya Dharmasya Shamsiddhir Haritoshanam. A living entity may engage in any occupational duty, but if he wants to have perfection in his duties, he must satisfy the Supreme Lord. As such, one pleases him gets better facilities for living, but one who displeases him gets involved in undesirable situation. It is therefore concluded that there are two kinds of duties: mundane duty and duty performed for the sake of yajna or sacrifice. Yajna arthat karma. Any karma, activity one performs which is not for the purpose of yajna is a cause of bondage. Yajnarthat karmano anyatra lokayam karma bandhanaha. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work binds one to this material world. Bhagavad Gita 3.9 Karma Bandhanaha, or the bondage of karma, is administered under the regulations of the stringent laws of material nature. Material existence is a struggle to conquer the impediments put forth by material nature. The asuras are always fighting to overcome these impediments, and by the illusory power of material nature, the foolish living entities work very hard within this material world and take this to be happiness. This is called Maya. In that hard struggle for existence, they deny the existence of the Supreme Authority, Purushottama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In order to regulate the activities of the living entities, God has given us codes, such as king gives codes of law in a state, and whoever breaks the law is punished. Similarly, the Lord has given the infallible knowledge of the Vedas, which are not contaminated by the four defects of human life, namely the tendency to commit mistakes, to be illusioned, to cheat, and to have imperfect senses. If we do not take direction from the Vedas but act whimsically according to our own choice, we are sure to be punished by the laws of the Lord, who offers different types of bodies in the 8,400,000 species of forms. Material existence or the sense gratification process is conducted according to the type of body we are given by Prakriti or material nature. As such, there must be divisions of pious and impious activities, punya and papa. In Bhagavad Gita 7.28, it is clearly stated, Yasham to antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta vazante mam dridha vrataha. One who has completely surpassed the resultant activities of the impious path of life. This is possible only when one engages exclusively in pious activities, can understand his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, one engages in the Lord's transcendental loving service. This life of engaging always in the loving service of the Lord is called Adhokshajadhiyaha, or a life of Krishna consciousness, which King Prithu meant his citizens to follow. The different varieties of life and of material existence do not come about by chance and necessity. They are different arrangements made by the Supreme Lord in terms of pious and impious activities of the living entities. By performing pious activities, one can take birth in a good family, in a good nation, one can get a beautiful body, or one can become very well educated or very rich. We see, therefore, that in different places and in different planets there are different standards of life. Bodily features and educational statuses, all added by Supreme Personality of Godhead, according to pious or impious activities. Varieties of life therefore develop not by chance but by prearrangement. There is a plan which is already outlined in the Vedic knowledge. One has to take advantage of this knowledge and mold his life in such a way that at the end, especially in the human form of life, he may go back home, back to Godhead by practicing Krishna consciousness. The theory of chance can be best explained in the Vedic literature by the words Agyanta Sikriti, which refer to pious activities performed without the actor's knowledge. But these are also planned. For example, Krishna comes like an ordinary human being. He comes as a devotee like Lord Chaitanya, or he sends his representative, the spiritual master or pure devotee. This is also the planned activity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They come to converse and educate, and thus a person in the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord gets a chance to mix with them, talk with them, and take lessons from them. And somehow or other, if a conditioned soul surrenders to such personalities and by intimate association with them chances to become Krishna conscious, is saved from the material conditions of life. Krishna therefore instructs Sarvadharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Saranam Braja Aham Tvam Sarva Papevyo Mokshashami Mashuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Bhagavad Gita 18.66. The word Sarva Papevya means from all sinful activities. A person who surrenders unto him by utilizing the chance to associate with the pure devotee, spiritual master, or other authorized incarnations of Godhead, like Prithu Maharaj, is saved by Krishna. Then his life becomes successful. End of purport. It's a big purport, so I have written something, but I don't know if I'll get chance to finish. Just summarize. So, okay. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य स्थाने जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे. I'm seeking blessings from all assembled Vaishnavas. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to read Srimad Bhagavatam and to purify myself. I'll summarize the verse. So, Prithu Maharaj is instructing all the citizens very lovingly, and he's saying that what they should do. When they will do those things, they will be happy, as well as Prithu Maharaj will be happy by going back home, back to Godhead. So in the first paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is talking about atheists. They are so engrossed in material enjoyment that they are not interested to know if there is any truth beyond this material world. They do not believe in the existence of God, and thus they understand everything which is happening in our daily affairs to be due to physical arrangement and chance. When we explain anything about karma and the Supreme Lord, they say we don't believe in God. We are the door of everything. It's all my effort that I am highly educated, I am rich, I have a beautiful body, etc. If that's the case, then we have seen in many cases, they're like, babies which are still not born, still in their mother's body, inside the mother's womb. They suffer from various diseases. They go through severe pain, and after even they are born, as soon as they are born, the doctors say like they're suffering from this kind of disease, like brain hemorrhage, etc., etc. So those small babies, they even did not see the world. Then they don't have even any friends or enemies. Then why they are suffering? They have not done anything. Then why they are suffering? It's all because of their past karma. People who don't believe on karma, they should think on this. The kind of questions atheists ask sometimes, like it's very difficult to answer. Like they say, have you seen God? If you believe in God and you are doing so much of devotional activities, then why you are suffering? They don't understand that we have to take the results of our karma, whether it's good or bad. Then Srila Prabhupada describes that in this age of Kali, Varnashrama Dharma is not properly followed and have lost the original culture. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described the Mayavadi philosophers as the greatest offenders against the personality of Godhead because they think God is impersonal. They are more dangerous than the Buddhist. In Bhagavad Gita 10.8, the Lord says, Aham sarvasya papebhyo matah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddhavava samanvitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their heart. So there is no supreme controller other than Krishna. One who understands Krishna in such a way from a bona fide spiritual master with references from Vedic literature, engage all his energy in Krishna consciousness, becomes a truly learned man. A Krishna conscious person should not be bewildered by the fools. Then, so this is the formula Prithu Maharaj wanted to introduce among his citizens. The absolute truth is, therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and every living being is meant to satisfy the Supreme Godhead by performing his respective duty. Then Srila Prabhupada describes Sanusthitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. By discharging one's prescribed duty, one can become very successful in life if he simply satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So our acharyas are not saying that we should leave everything and go to forest and chant there. No. While we are doing our day-to-day activities, we have to keep Krishna at the center and dovetail all our activities with Krishna. If you are studying, we have to study for Krishna, earn for Krishna, cook for Krishna, sing and dance for Krishna, raise Krishna conscious kids. That's what Krishna consciousness is. So in this age of Kali, actually we are not qualified for anything. Mahaprabhu appeared and taught us just chant the holy name because we don't have qualification to perform yajnas, only Sankirtan yajna. Then Srila Prabhupada came and made it even simpler because Srila Prabhupada knows our capability. So he decreased the rounds to 16. We have to do 16 quality rounds. Attachment is normal, but material attachment should be brought to spiritual attachment. So attachment to Guru and Krishna. Bhagavad Gita 8.5, Krishna says, Antakale cha mameva smarana mukta kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yatinasti atra samsayaha. So whoever at the end of his life quits his body remembering me, alone at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. So, how to quit the body by remembering Krishna? We have to train ourselves. 24 by 7, we have to be Krishna conscious. It's not like few hours in a day. There may be so many impediments for a person who is chanting Hare Krishna. Nonetheless, tolerating all these impediments, one should continue to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that at the end of one's life, one can have the full benefit of Krishna consciousness. So morning time we sing Sri Guru Charanarati Aise Uttama Gati. The highest gati or highest position is to get attached to Guru's lotus feet, means shifting material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. That's what Krishna consciousness is. Adhoksaja Dhiyaha. Prithu Maharaj wants his citizens to follow this rule. So many nice points Srila Prabhupada has mentioned, like those who are envious of Krishna, what will happen to them? They are like, they will go to the most darkest region and they will like take birth in animal kingdom, ferocious animals like tigers and lions, and they will suffer like that birth after birth for millions of years. And so many nice points, important points are there. I have written lots of things, but I don't think there's time. So I'll just conclude. At the end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada describes Lord's instructions from Bhagavad Gita 18.66 that Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Brajaham Tvam Sarva Papevyo Mokshashami Mashuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion. Just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Thank you again. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam.